Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends House of X Magneto. Magneto, similar to Cyclops, seen a lot of releases, and most of them pretty garbage, kind of butts. Not a lot of good releases for Magneto, maybe ever. Honestly, I don't think there's one that's like, I need to have it, other than it's the only figure of a certain version. You know what I mean? There's not like a particularly good release. Will this one be that release, despite it being his white costume, which I guess this whole House of X thing is really popular. I don't know, I haven't been keeping up, you guys can let me know. But regardless, it's not the red and purple. Doesn't mean it can't be good, it might be great. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and see if it is. This guy stands just over 16.5 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to just over 6.5 inches, about 6 5/8, I would say. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty here, I'd like to go ahead and do a question of the day, if that's okay with you guys. Which version of Magneto is your favorite? You probably guessed it. For me, I am pretty partial to the classic red and purple. The cooler version that we saw later with the Jim Lee style cartoon, more so than the earlier version where he looked especially frumpy. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the figure. We're not going to talk about the preferential look or lack thereof. I'm just going to strictly talk about the nuts and bolts of the figure. First thing I noticed is he's solid white molded plastic with a few exceptions, mostly being the gauntlets here and his noggin. I think his noggin. Let's see. Yeah, his helmet and his head. Everything else appears to be molded in white. Is it the same white everywhere? It's not. The chest is a noticeably different shade of white than the arms. These are PVC. This is ABS. It's probably ABS. It could be a different hard plastic. Either way, it's a hard plastic, soft plastic. They don't look the same. They don't have the same opacity. They don't have the same luminosity. They don't have any of that kind of stuff. It's obvious here for me. Some people won't notice, in which case you're golden, don't worry about it, but I have to point it out because this is a review. Now, the good thing is the molded silver parts look nice. They're not super swirly. Like, look at his helmet. There's no swirling going on. It's pretty darn clean. It's more of a flat aluminum look, which I think is fine. The gauntlets have a little bit more of a glossy look, but it looks pretty good. And they did a really decent job of painting the chest thing and his harness, or his belt. Looks fine. They also did a decent job of painting the black inside the belt, and the red X, or red and black X, also very clean. No problems there. I will point out though that, well, we'll get to that in a second. The black line work on his torso, pretty darn clean. Let me grab the box real quick. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going by what they gave me. He has like panels here, kind of like Cannonball has all over his body in earlier versions. And so I'm wondering, like, shouldn't he have those? And I understand that this is an old mold, but that's not my fault. And he also has knee pad lines, and he doesn't have that here. Like, he's missing a lot of details is what I'm getting at. So I'm a little bit bummed out about that, especially since this mold, I'm still not sold on it for Magneto. I get that Magneto hasn't always been super triangular shaped like a linebacker like he was in the Jim Lee cartoon, but he's still pretty much triangular shaped like he was in the Jim Lee cartoon. He's fairly muscular. Most comic book characters are. This guy has 0 thighs, and it just makes him look really wimpy. You know, it's a little bit of a bummer. The cape is still sculpted really well. It does have a thing in there to hold it off of his back so that it sits a little bit better, and I think that's acceptable. It's sitting reasonably well, no problems there. The head still looks a little dumpy and a little big, and I know what people are going to say. It's a helmet, it should look big, and I agree normally if this was real life, but in the comics, they kind of toe that line of how small his head would be inside of a helmet when he's got the helmet on. So proportions are still a little iffy on this mold. Everything here is old parts as far as I can tell. Maybe the gauntlets are new. Maybe, I can't quite remember. But everything else is old parts, and it seems like this was another phoned in Magneto, which is passable. Most people who aren't really into it won't care, I don't think. But it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a particularly good release. As far as the aesthetic goes, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's not terrible. It's fine. But that's it. Alright, now as far as accessories go, another thing, let me grab the package again. I really could have used a pink hand or a swooshy something, you know, just a little something. We don't have anything like that. All we have are these Kung Fu grip hands with the vertical hinge. That's really nice. Then we get some fist hands and some open hands. And that's it. The open hands are useful, fist hands are useful. Gripping hands, probably not. An effect part would have been cool, but yeah, again, average. 7 out of 10, no unhelmeted head. That would have been a nice addition. Again, it's not bad, just it's fine. You can count the cape as an accessory, I guess. I can't imagine many people are going to want to remove the cape and leave it that way, but we'll go ahead and do it for the rest of the review, and then you'll see how his proportions are, because I didn't really mention it. I kind of touched on it a little bit. He still looks very dumpy, like the earlier Magneto with the Australian Wolverine, like that cartoon version of Magneto. He does look kind of like that. All right, so let's talk about the articulation. The head can look back or lean up, lean back, look up. Okay, it goes down okay. It rotates, of course, side to side. A little bit of attitude, not too bad. Shoulders go up better than horizontal. That is good. Full rotation, no problems there. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow. Let's see, with only that joint, you're only going to get 90. Let's try incorporating that. Just better than 90. Again, very limited for a double jointed elbow. Not sure it's worth the effort. I don't know that they had much of a choice there, but still, it is very limited. Wrists obviously have a swivel and their various hinges. Ab crunch goes pretty far back. Line work is continued. That's nice. A little bit of a pregnant belly there. Kind of an odd lump. Going forward, pretty far. That's nice. Line work is continued. Nice smooth back. No issues there. Waist twist is a waist twist. Floaty belt is floaty. It is the same belt as Cyclops' belt, which I guess is okay. Hips go out to the side, not quite 45 degrees, pretty limited there. Going forward, you're going to get them out just about parallel to the ground. I think that's all right. They don't really go too far back. Thigh swivel is a thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, have they been fixed? They have not. Just over 90 degrees is the maximum range you can get without removing plastic. If you were so inclined, you'll see very clearly if you own the figure, some places you could trim up some plastic. Do it with the supervision of an adult, or if you're an adult, be careful. Shin swivels are in there, but they're at an angle, which is very strange. You guys see that? They start low and they go high just a little bit. Not the best design there, but at least they are flush. Ankles go all the way back and pretty far forward, and you get a decent ankle rocker. So yeah, articulation's pretty decent. Nothing great, nothing bad. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's your run-of-the-mill articulation, which is kind of what this figure is. That's kind of the calling card for this sort of release. It's run-of-the-mill. It's a popular character that hasn't seen a lot of love, and they're going to keep giving him love in terms of releases, but not so much, it seems, in terms of effort put into it. Is it good enough? Probably for most people. Is it going to impress? Probably not for most people. So I'm going to give it a final verdict of 7 out of 10. It could be a lot better. The face alone, honestly, he's got a very, very bland face. Even if you don't worry about the head proportioning, which honestly, I don't have a problem with the size of the helmet. If his body, if he had the bigger chest, bigger shoulders, bigger thighs, if it suited him more, I think the head to cape ratio is fine, or helmet to cape ratio is fine. But his body just doesn't fill it out. So that's my final verdict. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that even more, because you're basically lying to the internet, and it's for my benefit, so thanks. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I would appreciate that. I have new videos almost every single day when I'm not out of town or injured or whatever the case may be. We're going to try to resume that process very soon. But I also have thousands of videos already on the channel. So even if I take a month off for some reason, some unknown reason, I have thousands, literally thousands of reviews you can check out. So you'll probably find something you might be interested in buying. So you might want to peruse those playlists. Yeah, come back for all that, because like I said, lots of good stuff. So do that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.